Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Karen. For those of you who don't know me, but you know me, Yahya.
Yes, I do.
Yes. Um, I'm from the United Kingdom, married to a Jordanian, and I have been living here for almost 5 years. Tonight's topic is, should prisoners be given an education? In my country, when people are committed to prison for whatever crime, usually it is long-term sentences, 10, 12, maybe 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. Prisoners have the opportunity to study for baccalaureates, masters and PhD. It gives them something to do in prison, because in reality the long-term prisoners are not going to use these qualifications. What do you think? Do you think that prisoners should be given the chance to have an education? I don't know what the system is like here in Jordan. I don't know if prisoners here, male and female, have a chance to have education.
Should I break the ice?
Yes, please do, Yahya. You broke it the last time.
Yeah. What type of education we are going to give to these prisoners? Well, first of all, we are talking about.
Why don't some of these people move up? Because there's, sorry,
Yeah.
can you move up, please? Because we're having a problem with the noise over there. Sorry. Move closer, and then we don't have to scream. Okay, sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So we are talking about.
Scream. Okay, sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah, no problem. So we are talking about a group of uneducated prisoners, because it doesn't mean if you are a prisoner you are not educated. Some of them have bachelor's degrees or any other level level of degree, you know. But for 99% of the cases, they are not allowed to do any social activities, even within the boundaries of the prison. You know, the maximum thing that they can have. This is from according to what I know about the social system here. The only thing that they have is the half-hour break during the day. You know, they can't do any activities. I've seen in the movies, all of us seen in the movies how prisoners are treated. They can go to the gym that is inside the prison.
We,
They can go to the gym that is inside the prison.
we have
Or-
that in the UK.
Yeah, or they can
Have us go to the swimming pool. We have
exactly,
that.
or play basketball. Or yeah, there's a whole lot of activities they can do outside of Jordan. But here in Jordan, well, let's start about something. What is the benefit of giving those people the opportunity of having an education in the prison? Are we going? Is it really going to make a difference after they take this course in the prison?
I think if you're going to be committed for life into prison, and in the UK and in America, life can mean two things. Life can be a period, maybe up to 20 years. The other life is for the rest of your natural life, which means that you will die in prison. For me, I don't know, because what benefit is this education going to give them? It's not as if they can come out of prison and go and educate others. They can't even do it online from prison.
Yeah.
But we educate our prisoners in other ways. We have educational programs in the UK prisons where prisoners can learn plumbing. You know plumbing? Oh,
Plumbing,
plumbing.
or surgery.
Okay.
Some kind of-
They can learn carpentry. You know carpentry? Oh yes, okay. They can learn many skills.
Painting,
Painting, decorating, yes.
like a smith, something like Smith.
Blacksmith, it's a bit unusual to find that in the prison. A bit dangerous, I would say. We even have cooking or chefing classes in prisons in the UK, but that is to help the short-term ones get employment when they leave the prison. And many people say in the UK at the moment the prisons are becoming too comfortable. Too comfortable. You've committed a crime, so therefore your time in prison should be spent with hard labour, that you work very hard. For me, I personally don't believe in this one. I believe that in some cases people can be rehabilitated to change their way of thinking for the crime that they are in jail for. And I think everyone or most people deserve a second chance at life. This is why I agree with prisoners being educated. Doesn't matter if it's going to be in baccalaureate, magister or PhD, but educate them in something.
Excuse me? Can I say something?
You may.
Rehabilitate the people to change their attitude. They have committed some crimes, of course, or sometimes they have taken some loan from somebody and they cannot pay it. They have been put in jail, but that's for short-term plan. Jail. But if you are talking about long-term jail, which is, as you say, 20 years in jail,
Or for the rest of your natural life.
from my point of view, I think education is a very good thing for them to straighten their attitude. Because sometimes it's not like this one. Sometimes they have committed mistakes, and if they are educated, this education will change their attitude, and it will rehabilitate them, and they could be good citizens. Because the nature of the human being actually is neutral. It's good actually, but sometimes he go with some well.
Turn out on
He either goes يمين or شمال, not doggery.
Yeah. Sometimes he's going with bad people. Okay, so his attitude, and he become bad. Why not? If you go to the jail, he's given the chance to get educated, either for baccalaureate or master, PhD. Who knows? Maybe his sentence will be reduced sometimes. He should always be optimistic for this life, and he could be productive for the people. He could educate people. He could also change the attitude of the other prisoners besides him, because otherwise, if we leave him without education, we always think of punishment as a punishment itself. It's bad. Actually, punishment is not like God. Sometimes we say that he will go to heaven or he will go to Jannah or something
Hell.
like that. Right? Actually, it's not that God wants to put us in. He wants us to respect ourselves and be good people. And this is actually the meaning of jail. It's not like to put the people, because actually jail costs the government a lot of money. So it's better we call it Islahiyya. Islahiyya means straightening.
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation means make the people good again. So by educating them, we are making them good. If they stay without education, without work, without anything, and nothing will change. As a matter of fact, they might be more aggressive. So it's better to educate them and make them good people again.
So you have no system, because I don't know the system in Jordan, in the
Me
prison.
too. Me too.
No, we don't, sir.
There is nothing.
No.
I know in some prisons. I know in some prisons.
I can't give you a clear, of course, answer, but definitely there is a system in Jordan about rehabilitation the prisoners. And to what extent these rehabilitation programs are, and to what extent and when enough. Of course, you need an expert from prison themselves to tell you about. But definitely there is true. And also recently, the news they have announced that that the new strategy for the PSD will be also for the prisoners will be taking into consideration to add these kind of learning rehabilitation programs for prisoners. So there is already definitely a program, but there are more now, let's say, developing these programs into more strategical thinking within the PSD. This has been in the news actually maybe, I don't know, within these months, I'm not sure, but I read it in the
In
news.
both male and female prisons?
Definitely, when we talk about prisons, definitely, man, we don't have this kind of, in my opinion, in Jordan, we don't.
You don't have gender
We don't,
division? Okay.
no. We give prison is prison. And I heard one of the PSD officers who was working in prisons that there is some kind of training, there are special attention. Even the people who are working, the officers, the same officers, whether both male or female, working in the prison, they really get very good education. And unlike what we think, that maybe anybody who's working in prison has to be have this kind, even girls, that they have to be very tough and they have to be strong attitude and maybe not mean. No, I actually met one of the officers who's really very nice. And so they are educated, even the officers. They really do very good building capacities programs for the officers and for the prisoners.
But this is only new?
No, I don't. I cannot tell you. I'm not. I don't know. I'm not from there, from the inside, but I've heard there is newly. There will be a strategic. They already developed a strategy, the PSD in the prison. And it's about rehabilitation programs, more rehabilitation, about education and stuff like this. But what the details, I don't know.
I think it's a good idea, even if somebody is not academically minded. I think it's a good idea to teach someone a trade, like carpentry, like plumbing, like painting and decorating, so that when they come out of prison, they can hopefully provide for themselves and for their families and do it in a professional way, rather than coming out of prison and then maybe coming out without job security and being unemployed.
Should that be applied on every kind of prisoner, or
In my opinion.
there's some kind of prisoners, they are frequently committing crimes.
Yes, I know.
So what are you going to fix in him?
Yeah, but you
This is
can't.
a mental thing.
You can't, because some prisoners have, after the first, second, third time in prison, have become institutionalized. They've got used to living in this space.
Yeah.
They've got used to get up at a certain time in the morning. They shower at a certain time. They eat at a certain time. Exercises at a certain time they're locked up, a certain time they must go to sleep.
Yeah.
So these people, some of these prisoners, this is the only way that they can function. So when they come out of prison and are faced with the big world,
They don't know how to deal with it.
they can't cope.
Can I ask you?
Can you move up this way?
Can I ask you a question?
Come, because there's noise from there.
Okay. Wait a minute. Let's say that, for example, we are, okay, you gave them that kind of education. And I believe in education at prison because you will be answering, some people have psychological problems, and that's why they go to prison. They commit crimes
Yes.
because they did not have the other choice. So education maybe, it's good for them because it will give them the other choice, and they will be fulfilled, let's say, from the inside, okay? So this is good. But what about, okay, they went out of prison, and I heard it actually from one of the people, okay? I worked with the PSD in a project, so I know sometimes details I hear about it. So what if, for example, this, and it is a story about a girl who was in her life in prison, and then when she went out, okay? She's educated, okay, but she went out and she wants to find a job, or even a man, and he wants to find a job. Shouldn't be like there's a program for them to mingle within the society. It's not, and my question is, it's not only important to educate them, because when they go out they need to work, but how they're gonna mingle? Who's gonna accept to have a person who was in prison to work? Who will be appointing?
To be quite
This is
honest,
number one.
if I look at my own country, many years ago, nobody would accept anybody from prison. You've got a record,
Nobody.
so we don't want you.
Yeah.
But now things are changing in my country, depending on the crime that you have committed. Depending on the crime that you've committed, companies now are willing to take prisoners.
They're not willing.
They are, in my country, companies are starting to take prisoners. For example, computer hacking. It's a crime.
Yeah.
Who better to employ?
Yeah.
Who better to employ? Is it better to employ? Is it better to employ someone from out in the streets, or is it better to employ a computer hacker who's just coming out of prison?
The last one.
Definitely the last one.
The last
Because
one, yes.
I'm software engineer and
Yeah.
we choose that
Oh,
one.
sorry, I didn't.
Yes, definitely the last one.
Yes, and who better to employ, say for example, when we are trying to sell, or in the UK when they're selling burglar alarms, house alarms, who better
The
to
expert.
train the man
The
out,
expert. The
to
expert.
train the man
The
out,
expert.
to train the man out in the street, and he will be so he's a social outcast.
That's very bad. Really, we should always take care of these people because we want them.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, you're saying that we should always take care of these people.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the case of, and I hate to mention this, but I'm going to, my subjects are controversial here.
Yeah.
What about the subject of a woman who has been raped by a man or a group of men? Do I accept this person back into my community again?
Well, we are talking in general. Okay?
Well, no, but
for
okay.
those crimes, like for example, that maybe sometimes somebody like a thief or something like that. Okay, but like those with internal hostilities. Okay, those people who actually we try to fix them psychologically. Okay, we try to look why did they commit the crime. Maybe we can fix the people. It's not because the people from themselves, when they are born, they are good. But when they are mixed with bad people, they normally teach them how these bad, habits, and then they become criminals. So sometimes, this is my point of view, that if we really try to, study the case, why did he commit this crime? Like, what kind of
Whatever
crime?
crime,
Okay,
yeah.
whatever. We try to see why. Is it possible? We do some, training. We do some, consultation. We do so many things. We try to fix. Maybe we could be good. But if he's been, for example, sentenced for 10 years, and nobody actually take him. Always he's ignored. He's been bad, and then people will always spit in his face. They know that he's a rebel, he's a criminal. And then he went out of jail, and we don't give him any kind of attention. We don't employ. He's gonna repeat this one. He wants actually to, retaliate from the society, as I could say.
To fight back.
He will fight back.
But what are we talking about? The person who committed the raping or the person, the victim?
No, we're talking about the person,
The person.
the rapist.
Ah,
Because in my culture we don't accept them back into the community very easily.
Shall you?
Well, we
kill him?
don't accept them.
If you don't accept them, he will be
Um,
more dangerous.
troubling question that you have asked because I'll tell you, Jordan, what is even if we have like 2 articles in law that have been discussed a lot in government, on NGO level and stuff like this. Because usually on NGO level and stuff like this. Because usually when a rape commits of the victim, where I don't know in what sense they are, but usually in these cases they let them marry. They let them marry. And sometimes the police action, what they do is that they put both of them in jail because they are afraid from revenge. Because somebody from the family of that girl, for example, would go and kill. So what they do is they either make an arrangement within the police or within the family to make. I'm talking about the case of the articles, why lots of chaos around changing the law and the articles in this sense.
I
And
remember
according
this
to
one.
the experience of the police and the government, they say that the problems that happens later. So they want to protect the girl, so they put her in jail. honestly speaking, when we hear a lot of NGOs speak, no, that's serious. So we speak and we sometimes we take international concepts and we try to put them here, but our culture is different, and we need to change the thinking of the people. So it's a bit, it's a very troubling question, and that there's no answer until
There
now.
is no answer, but do you educate a rapist? Who I just use that as an example. Okay, we don't have this problem in my country. Okay, a rapist is a rapist. Um, the only time, okay, a rapist is a rapist. Um, the only time these two people and the rapist and the victim will meet is in court. After that, they will never meet again. In my country, it is absolutely useless trying to. No company in my country will employ a child abuser, be that physical abuse, mental abuse, or sexual abuse. It will not happen in my country. For example, if somebody has robbed a bank, they will educate them in prison. If somebody has knocked a little old lady in the street to take her handbag, they will give him an
What
education.
if somebody killed another person?
It depends on the life, or it depends on the tariff of the sentence. Murder in my country, there's a difference, as you know, between manslaughter, premeditated murder, and murder. Manslaughter is just done. It's immediate. No thinking. Maybe I annoy you and you just pick up a glass and you kill me with it. That's manslaughter.
Is this one the least terrible?
The least one.
Yeah.
Premeditated murder is where it can be proved that you have gone through a plan to kill me, for example. Maybe I say something wrong to you over a period of about 6 months and you've had enough and you think of ways to plan how to get rid of me. That's premeditated. Murder is when you've actually things in my country. Manslaughter can get you 2 years. 2 years. Maybe maximum of 4. It will get you longer, maybe 10, 15 years. And murder, there's no limit. We have prisoners in the UK who, for murder, get 20 years, 25 years. They will only serve 2/3 of their sentence. 1/3 is knocked off, but it's knocked off for good behaviour. Then we have a small minority who will, depending on the seriousness of the murder, if somebody has murdered, like we had a doctor in England who murdered, they reckon, over 200 of his patients. Yes? Can you imagine a doctor in the UK murdering 200 of his patients? Old ladies who lived alone, who didn't ask questions. And when they arrested him for murder, they discovered that he had wills. You know wills? Wills. They are legal documents whereby this old lady leaves everything to her doctor. Leaves her house, her car, her money, her jewellery. So these types of murders, they will die in prison. There is no release for them.
Excuse me.
So there's no point in educating somebody like that.
Excuse me. I think, well, this is different, but I think for even in most of the Arabic countries, okay, for those people who are like criminals, killers, rapists, they terminate them immediately. If they think that there is, why should I keep this guy in the prison?
Terminate? What do you mean by terminate?
They executed.
Well,
They get executed. Yeah.
Why? Okay, wait a minute.
wait a minute. Terminate them where? In the prison?
Yeah,
No,
you
there's
kill them.
a special place for them.
Well, oh,
A killer should be killed, okay?
Okay.
Rather than I put him and pay a lot of money for nothing. He will stay in the prison for what?
Who can
Let's
tell you that?
let's say somebody kill your brother or your son or your daughter. When he goes out,
anybody kill my husband? I should be after them. I should be after them very fast.
you see,
Yes.
you see, you want him to be killed.
Revenge.
So if the killer, if there's a guy who is killed, even the crime that he will be killed, okay, then so many people will think they will will dare to kill, okay. But if he knows that he will go to the jail, he will be spoiled, and he will be spending two-thirds of his for 25 years. Ah, okay, I still have time, and maybe I will get my PhD. So I'll be a doctor.
It costs a lot of money to keep a prisoner.
Yeah, a lot of money. Yeah.
Yes.
How about
I
investing
think-
more and more on
This is not the
prisoners?
subject, but actually this from my point of view, a killer or a rapist or those who make big crime, or he would be stopping in the road and kill the people like that doctor or something like that. If they are being the people like that doctor or something like that, if they are being killed, then you release yourself. I mean, and no crime will be there.
Do you know in the UK, in the prisons, we have very, very tough men, very hardened criminals, criminals who have used guns to kill people. And if you put a rapist or a child molester in with those guys, that man will be dead within a couple of weeks.
It was in the UK, maybe. I'm not sure. But suddenly his sexual orientation changed, and he became attracted to children.
Ah,
You know, after to a professor, he scanned his brain, and he noticed that there's a part of
it's not wired properly.
No, there is a part of his brain, even though he's married guy. There's a part of his brain had a cancer. You know, they removed half of this part, the affected part of his brain, and the guy suddenly returned to his normal situation. 2 years after this incident, these feelings are renewed in him. But he suddenly went to the doctor that made the surgery for him. They discovered that the left piece had cancer again, so they removed it all, and they cleared his record from child abuse. You know, because there was a biological cause for this thing. So the point that he mentioned here is very, very important, that we have to know about the intentions of committing this crime, you know, and also everyone has its own exceptions. So we can't apply this on every type of prisoners, you know. We agree. How about terrorism? Do you agree about a guy that bombed, for example, la samah Allah, a whole city or a complex or anything, to have him released out? Because you can't fight an ideology. You can't. It's not a tangible thing, you know. So to summarize up everything we've been here so far, to be realistic, we agree about giving them another chance as citizens, a normal citizens. Let's discuss it from the government's point of view. Are they willing to do such thing? Okay, they put strategies, we put plan, but on the real world, where is it? Are they able to apply it here? And also, we discussed if the community will accept them after they finish this their trial or their sentence. I think to have this in the field of application in our country, in Jordan, maybe we have to promote this into the minds of people, that a criminal deserves another chance. But we need to find the right ways that would fire up the emotions of the people to accept the criminal.
A criminal deserves another chance. Tell that to me. When I was 29 years of age, and I'm sitting in my home in London, and there's a knock at my door very late on a Saturday night. Very late on a Saturday night. It was around 11:30, and a knock on my door. I wasn't expecting anybody to come to my door at that time. And my door, it had glass in it, and all I could see was one policewoman and two policemen. When I see that, at any time, I know it's bad news for me. It's bad news when police turn up at your door. I knew then that I'm not likely to survive the next 24 hours. I'm a taxpayer in the UK spending my money to educate this person.
But you said he's drunk.
He was drunk. He was so drunk he couldn't. He laughed
Yeah,
when he
but
was.
he hit them by the car. Right?
He was driving on the same side as the road as my family.
Drunk and driving.
He was driving. My mother's car was going this way, and he was coming on exactly the same. He was drunk.
So, from your point of view, do you think that he should be killed or he should be rehabilitated?
Ah, well, I wish that if you let me continue, I have many emotions over the next. I have many emotions over the next 2 years. Many emotions. I heard enough about my mother's injuries. I heard enough about my brother's injuries. I heard enough about my sister's injuries. I saw photographs that I should never have had to see, that nobody should ever have to see. And I was screaming and shouting in the middle of a courtroom. The day that he was sentenced, I lost it again. And he was only given 5 years. I heard that sentence. My language was not very nice, and it's not language I'm going to repeat here. I said, you should think yourself lucky. You're there, and I am here. I said, because if I had a gun today, I would finish you.
I don't blame him.
You know how I did move on, but it took me all that time to forgive.
How long?
It took me over 30 something bad. Do you know that man did not even learn? He didn't come out of jail. He was not allowed to drive. He was banned from driving for 5 years. He managed to get one of his friends to come with a car. He came out of the jail and he asked his friend, come on, I haven't driven for a long time. Let me go. Let me drive in your car. And his friend said no. He said, go on. It was a short distance from the prison to this man's home. On the way, they stopped at a bar. Drink, 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 drink. And he killed a man and his wife crossing the road.
On the day
On the day he got out, and
The same.
on the same day, the same man, same day as he got out. He killed an old.
he's out.
After 5 years.
Yeah.
Yes, he killed an old man and his wife.
See,
Some
there is a
people
strict
walking without
no. There is a strict law prohibiting driving while you're drunk. He wouldn't do that.
It means that he did not actually, those 5 years.
He hasn't
not
learned
learn.
anything.
Yeah.
And they did not teach him. He did not even feel conscious about it because, you know,
What's the point in spending taxpayers' money on educating somebody like that who's just going to commit again?
But we should not generalize it for everybody.
No.
Maybe we can have an option that we can choose when my dad is going to educate someone. I can choose his.
but can I give you another example? It happened with a relative of mine. He was driving on a motorcycle, okay? And I want to ask the opinion of viewers, what do you think? Because it's a similar case, but different. He's on a motorcycle, driving on the road. And while he was driving on the motorcycle, it's already green. He was going into between cars, you know, motorcycles going between cars. One of the cars makes like this.
Tilted, huh?
There was a lady crossing the light, and she was jumping, crossing. Yani it was not supposed to cross it, but she was jumping and crossing it. And basically, she came and he was like this. He was like surprised by her, so he hit her, and she directly died. While him, the motorcycle dragged him lots miles away with a really bad injuries that he was going to die. The lady was 80 years old. The man was 20 years old, working. Now the lady is not from the country, not from here. So her daughter came who is 6 years old, and she started, according to Jordan, there's lots of traditions in dealing with these kind of car accidents. So what she said, no, she wants to put him in prison. She wants, she tried almost all the kind of things. She put him in prison at least 6 months until, and never مش بcustody family. And she's happy. All of us, okay, we know about her mom, and of course she was asking for money, lots of money for the death of her mom. And we understand that she has a right to this. Again, it was an accident. It was not bad. It's a fault of the woman. And again, she was asking for money, so it was greedy. It looks like a greediness. And the woman was 80 years old or 85 years old. She was really old, and it was her mistake. So what do you think with this case? I don't think they are similar. Does that guy really has to go to prison?
Well, he's not a criminal.
He's not a criminal, and if it was a genuine accident, he wasn't drinking, he wasn't under the influence of drugs, he wasn't speeding, he wasn't on the phone. This is an
And
accident.
actually, and moreover, that he has the right. It was green light for him.
But you forgot to
Green signal.
mention a point we have in our country.
Pedestrians.
The traffic law
دايما
here.
بيطلع
The traffic law here
Always have-
is always
On
with-
the side of the,
on the side of the. Not that it's against the driver.
it's against the
Yeah.
driver.
Why I tell you this?
But why should it be against the driver all the time? Why? Because it's quite normal. Okay, there's a car, you're driving along the road, and all of a sudden the child runs out. Who's responsible for it?
Pedestrians have priority, first priority. Pedestrians, they have.
The child, is it the child that's responsible for running out? Or is it the driver who's responsible because they didn't stop fast enough?
Yeah.
And
Driver responsibility because he has to be.
in the UK, in the UK, thank God we don't think like this, because in the UK, everything is tested.
Tested.
Yes, and if a child is found to have run out and it was an accident, that's fine.
And in her case, she mentioned the woman jumped in a place she shouldn't jump from.
So it was her fault then.
Her fault,
I
yeah.
mean that it is, although it's a killing, but a car accident.
We can accept accidents, but I don't accept driving under the influence of alcohol. And
And carelessness. And
but when you drive a car, you are driving a weapon. You've got a weapon in your hands.
That's right.
And if you are driving under the influence of alcohol and or drugs, your weapon becomes even more powerful.
Especially if you are also over speeding. That's to make it worse.
because I remember that in one of the trainings they told us that when you're under alcohol and you're driving, you don't measure the distance.
I was
So that by time you are driving,
I told you that I was a Christian before.
Yeah.
Yes, I was not
She's
born.
Muslim, by the way.
I was not born a Muslim. I was a Christian before, and I don't know. I wouldn't even dream to ask this question anyway. But when I was a Christian, I would drink. On Saturday nights, I would go out with friends, drink alcohol. I'm not ashamed of it. But the next morning, I would wonder, my God, how in the hell did I get home? It's not funny because when I look back on it, I must have put myself in many dangerous situations, and girls even today in the UK put themselves into dangerous situations every Friday and every Saturday night. They think that, okay, I can have one drink, and then one drink goes to two, two goes to three, three goes to four, and then you think, shit, how did that? Well, the last thing I can remember is being with my friends. Now I'm in my bed. How in the hell did I ever get here? And when it gets to that stage, that's the frightening part.
but you know what's the more frightening about it? And I tell you here, here in our culture, they are starting to drink, even young girls and young boys, and they don't have enough awareness and nobody to tell, because when they're doing it in secret. So they go and drive, for example.
I know.
They go drive and they wouldn't tell. And that's even a more disaster. Because doing the thing and taking precautions is okay, but doing the thing secretly and not taking precautions is a disaster.
I know 16-year-olds here, when they finish school on a Thursday, And we're not talking about the normal Jordan a Thursday. And we're not talking about the normal Jordanian car and drive without even a license. What happens if that child kills someone?
Sometimes they think it's cool.
Kills someone?
Sometimes they think it's cool. That's not cool.
No, it's not cool.
But she said, if that child committed a crime by killing somebody while she's driving.
Well, Charles is another case, a totally different case. He's not aware of what he's doing.
16 years
Yeah,
old.
he's not aware of
Excuse me,
what he's doing.
a 16-year-old knows exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
They know
but-
exactly what they're doing.
But what shall she do? I know she's aware of everything. I mean, a child now with 12 years is aware.
Yes?
But
Children are not children for long.
Yeah,
but
that's for
suppose
sure.
like it happened like this one. What will happen to the child of 16 years old who's driving and he's committed this hitting? He committed. He hit a person and killed him.
You know,
What's the consequence?
So there's no point, at the end of the day, in my opinion, it depends on what crime you've committed, whether you allow, and especially in my country, taxpayers' money to be used on educating people.
yeah. Well, it should be an optional choice, maybe, if you would like to.
It usually is optional.
Yeah.
For the masters and the PhD and baccalaureates, that is optional. To learn a trade,
Yeah.
like carpentry, decorating, cooking, these things, that is not optional.
It's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
The optional is selective. They will select those people who can actually
Yes,
be educated.
but for carpentry, for plumbing, for cooking, these are mandatory.
Mandatory.
Yes, because it is hoped in the British legal system that when you have served your sentence, that you will leave prison with some kind of education, some kind of trade, that you can then become a productive member of society.
Exactly.
So once you give them the chance to be educated at jail, and once they get out of jail, there should be a society or some
Organization.
Some prison, there are organizations to help prisoners in my country to get work. Looking for jobs starts at least 6 months before.
Not even in China. Some people who are having a short term in jail.
Yes, I know.
They're sending them to another countries, like for example in Dubai, and
Yeah.
they're working in construction
Yeah.
for a very, let's say, it's for $1.
Cheap amount of money.
They're working there, and they're giving a high benefit. They're not costing a lot, only $1, and they're providing them accommodation, food, and everything, and they're giving an advantage for this,
Yes.
which is something good.
Given a second chance.
Well, and speaking of China, have you heard about the system that China is making, which is called social grading system? Have you ever heard about it? Well, read about it. It's a controversial thing. If you cross, for example, if you cross a red light, you would be cameras would take your photo, and you would be graded a minus points.
No.
So they give the citizen a point system. You lose points on every penalty you do.
You lose points if you have even another child.
Yeah. Also, these points would ban you if you lose points or your score if it was low, would ban you from other benefits such as social security benefits or your passport. You can't go out. And if it was, there's a limit. If it was below the required limit to be a good citizen, you would be placed in. They would put them all in one city, and you can't get out of it. This
my
is the
God.
system. Yeah, and it requires an artificial intelligence to do this. I don't blame them for doing that, but that's how we can maybe.
Control.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing actually. It's not good to let artificial intelligence to control people, but in some cases we need to give the citizen a score, and based on this score to decide that he is a good citizen or not a citizen, or he is allowed to have a chance or not. Yeah.
If they missed their first chance at the beginning, then خلاص, you don't have to give them another chance. For example, in your situation, they let him go after 5 years.
Because that was the maximum the government tariff was, 5 years.
But once he got himself again another accident, he shouldn't give. and he should stay in at jail for the rest of his life.
Well,
That's what I believe.
unfortunately, he didn't.
Yeah, see? So we're talking about different situations.
Yeah.
It
But
depends
when
on
you
the law.
actually you are talking about this subject because it's actually personal. But if it has happened to somebody else, you might think it differently.
Okay. I'm against people who drink and drive. I'm against people who drink, or sorry, I'm against people who take drugs and drive.
Yeah, but when you're saying that, okay,
But that's possibly because of my own personal experience. If I'd not gone through this experience, what would I have done? Would I have got behind the wheel of a car myself with alcohol when I was a Christian? Maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know.
yeah, but maybe you will not be that,
Hard.
that angry with the other people if they have committed the crime
I see it in
against
Jordan.
others.
I see it in Jordan here. People have been drinking and driving, and it makes me so angry
That's right, because you have the experience,
because I know the devastation.
the consequences.
I know the devastation. Was not only me it affected. It affected this man's family.
It was very devastating.
It affects two sides. These things. Every crime affects two sides. Murder affects two sides.
So at the end, I still really this is a very useful conversation, and we have learned that
I pick controversial conversations, don't I? Yes.
yeah, actually
The one for October is very controversial.
for those people who really committed mistakes, maybe we could say it's selective to give them education, higher education, as you said, and for those in general. Those actually with low education, we could give them some kind of trades, like carpenters, like plumbers, as you said, and we should make it like mandatory for all the people. They should be, when they go out of jail, they should be back to the society, so that they will not repeat the same mistake.
If people want to travel, say for example, if you want to move to Australia, if you have a criminal record, you can't go there. If you have a criminal record, you can't go to America. It depends on what it is. Yes?
And I don't blame them. Do you want to invite somebody, some criminal person in your house?
No, indeed, I would not.
Because make a problem for you. So
Yes.
I don't blame Australia.
Deserves to have such kind of treatment and who doesn't. And those two kind of people should be separated because
Yes.
they influence each other, you know.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, yes. So all of us agree to give them another chance, but there's special cases they don't deserve it. Yeah, that's good.
Even for employment, like what you said, I have an Indian friend, and sometimes when you want to employ a person, you have to understand his status. So there will be some guy who's watching this, one of expert or psychologist.
Shrink.
Yeah, shrink.
They become-
Okay. So the people will be interviewing the person, education, okay, multiplication, or those professional things. And that guy will be watching the guy. How is his attitude? How is his behavior during
How
that?
does he respond to events or?
Yeah, he
Yes.
said that somebody might get 100% in his professional, but that guy will say, get him out of here.
Because he was lying.
No, he knows his behavior and his movement.
Yeah,
The
the
way
gestures
he-
of his body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially for those things which need some perfect, some people who are stable, or stable, he doesn't do this. For example, if somebody is thinking he's working with some precise things like
Yeah, so-
electronic
yeah,
person or something like that. But I don't want to bring one crazy guy, He might be very intelligent, but actually his behavior is,
Is, yeah.
yeah, it's like shaky. So that we have to take care. Even if the prisoner, somebody might be good for education. We have to check, we have to make a lot of tests. We don't depend only on one test, one day. No, we should visit, we should talk to him.
On many
And-
aspects.
Yeah, many aspects. Not only sometimes we depend, oh, we have interviewed him, he's good. No, and not only one person, there should be some committee.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Because sometimes it's a waste of money. Taxpayers will be,
Upset with that.
They
Yeah.
should be
I'm a taxpayer in my own country because I own property, and we're always complaining. Why now are they allowed to play tennis? Why tennis courts in the prison? Why now is there a new prison being built and they all get colour TVs? Why now have we got a new prison being built complete with
have the tennis court. Have the tennis court.
is should children, or sorry, do you think that as part of the school curriculum, children should be taught financial management?
Good idea. Let's go out of jail.
Yeah.
No, because I think it's a very important topic here because it's now in the UK, but enough of that until September. October, because I've just given Dahlia October's as well. October's one is controversial.
Yeah.
It's related more towards the men than the women. Oh, yeah, you're
That's an
being.
interesting one.
Do you think that it is right in your society for the man to provide gold for the bride, and do you think it is correct?
We must.
Oh no, but do you think it's right? That's all I'm asking. And do you think that you should be expected to supply a fully furnished home for your bride?
We should attract more
No.
females for this.
No, it's just something that I've witnessed in my own family.
Yeah,
It's a mandatory, by the way.
لازم
It's a mandatory.
It's something.
Oh, by the way, you can share the event, and if you think that your friends would be interested in such topics, you can share the event.
Yes, please do.
So I will do my best, yeah.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
طيب
And it was nice to see you again, Yahya.
Me too.
بدي احكي لكم
You've been-
بالبرامج تبعت الفترة اللي جاي.
You've been here
أو
before.
طلبات أول شيء بس نحكي بشكل عام
You've
عن
been
أو
here
طلبات. أو
before.
طلبات.
Yes? Is this your first time?
I've been here.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I've been here before, but it's first time I see you.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's not my first time that I've seen you.
Thank you very much.
I told
It's
you, yes.
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Out and About هي مجموعة تطوير مجتمع. الهدف تبعها هو بناء مجتمع مبني على 5 قيم موحدة اللي هم المحبة، السلام، التقبل والتسامح والعطاء، ونشر فكرة المواطن العالمي، بمعنى انه الانسان يعامل الانسان على اساس انه انسان، زي ما انتم لاحظتوا القعدة رأسا بلشت يمكن بدون ما تعرفوا على اسامي بعض، وهذا جزء من انه نسبة انه كثير سهل نتعامل مع بعض بدون ما نعرف اي شيء عن بعض. وكل فعالياتنا موجهه بهذا الحكي، والطريقه اللي بنشتغل فيها انه بنعمل فعاليات عشان نعيش هاي الهدف. يوم السبت رح نكون مع نادي الكتاب من الساعه 5:30 للساعه 7. رح نناقش مسرحيه رحله حنظله، رح تكون بمكتبه الازبكيه بجبل عمان. هذا يوم السبت من 5:30 للسبعة. يوم الأحد رح يكون اليوم الرياضي من الساعة 8 للساعة 10 بمدرسة كامبريدج جرابية، نلعب فيها فولي بول وباسكت بول وريشة. يوم الاثنين رح نكون هون بكيمستري من الساعة 6:30 للساعة 8 ضمن دائرة التوعية، ورح تكون فوق بالقاعات اللي فوق. رح نحكي فيها على، رح تكون معنا خبيرة اسمها رانيا القدسي، ورح تحكي معنا على تطوير السيرة الذاتية والتطوير الوظيفي، وهي خبيرة HR ورح تساعدنا كثير بهذا الموضوع لمدة الساعة ونص اللي رح تحكي فيها. يوم الخميس الجاي رح نكون مع دوائر مرة ثانية من 6:30 ل7:30 دائرة تدريب مهارات الحياة، ومن الساعة 7:30 للساعة 8:30 رح نكون مع دائرة حوارات حول 7:30 للساعة 8:30 رح نكون مع دائرة حوارات حول الموت. وبهاي الدائرة بنحكي فيها مواضيع تجاربنا فلسفة عن موضوع اليوم. يوم الجمعة بعد الخميس، يعني مش الجمعة هذا اللي بعديه، رح نكون مع برنامج ضمن ايد على ايد اللي هو الايد الخيرية لمجموعة Out and About. رح يكون في كسوة العيد اللي رح يكون فيها ما بين 50 إلى 100 طفل، وراح الفريق يكون معاهم مع المتطوعين لكسوة العيد ان شاء الله. فاللي بحب يكون مشارك لهاي الفعاليه برضه ممكن يشوف الايفنت على ايفنتاتنا كليتها على التفاصيل لاي وحده من هدول الايفنتات موجوده على صفحتنا على الفيسبوك، مجموعتنا على الفيسبوك meetup.com وeventbrite.com، وممكن تشوفوا التفاصيل والارقام لكل فعاليه. شكرا كثير لكم ونشوفكم بالفعاليه.
شكرا.
Would you like to grab a cigarette?
Yes, I think about it.